Hey everyone, you made it to our show, Oak Road Diaries. It's a podcast where we get to take a journey into the lives of different experts and we get to explore their roots and their own self-care practices.
In each episode, we dive deep into their personal philosophies, daily rituals, and transformative experiences from their lives, which offer all of us valuable insights and practical tips for our own well-being.
Join us as we uncover the wisdom behind intentional living, one story at a time.
We're beginning a two-part conversation that we're really excited to share with you.
This is part one of our conversation with Lily Sais, author, speaker, and thoughtful voice in the space of self-reflection and inner work.
In this first episode, we start at the roots. We talk with Lily about her personal journey, the experiences that shaped her perspective, and the moments that invited her to slow down and to listen inward.
We explore themes of unlearning, redefining success, and what it looks like to choose self-trust and presence in a world that often rewards constant doing.
This conversation is gentle, it's honest, and deeply grounding.
It's an invitation to reflect, to soften, and to reconnect with what truly matters.
So take a deep breath, settle in, and join us. This is where the story begins.
I don't feel better. What's wrong with me? Like, I'm meditating, I'm doing my gratitude, I'm doing my whatever manifestation, I'm praying, I got my mantras, I got my sour candy.
My 7 pillars are all in line. Why don't I feel this way? Welcome to Oak Road Diaries. We're talking about your work and your life and as much as you want to go all the way back to the childhood. We just like to kind of take it from here and just let you tell us who Lily Sais is and how did you get to where you're at now with Peace from Within?
Yeah, and I'll expand on that a little bit. So there's, let's go back to this video. Back in 2022, you uploaded a video on YouTube for about 10 minutes. You're talking about a little bit about your background. You talked about how you used to have anxiety about your parents dying all the time. And you always loved kids, and that led you to want to do your school counseling, right? And then you basically, so to get to that point and obviously to where you are now, let's talk about that, right? Because I think some people have like legit, we've always heard people be like, oh, it's my OCD, right? And it's just like, oh, it's just my OCD or whatever. It's my fill in the blank thing. I think there's that for sure. And I think everybody has a little bit of that, what they would call OCD. And I think there's more of like what you were experiencing and probably what I have experienced and potentially Sam in some ways, where it's a little bit deeper than that, where it can even lead to compulsions and things of that nature. But maybe we back up a little bit and just, like Sam said, Oak Road Diaries is named that because we grew up on Oak Road in Pennsylvania. Yep. And we think very much who we are is very much a product of nature and nurture, right? It's a story of where we came from. And so what we strive to do, I don't know how much background we did on the Happy Atrium, but we very much specifically focus on the 7 pillars, what we call 7 pillars of transformation. And we really think you're going to highlight, 2 of them, and it's going to kind of stand bright today. And that's the mental and occupational pillars. And so just to kind of wrap it around that, but as you think about your background, think about a little bit what got you to those experiences that you had as a child and, teenager, and that led you to want to do the school counseling to where you are now. That's kind of the story and that those threads that we like to pull on right now.
Okay, great. I'm trying to like make it concise and interesting.
Nah, I could be honestly raw. I can go all over the place. We'll pull you back in.
Listen, maybe we start with mine, right? Like I remember when I was a kid, I don't even know if Sam knows this. And this is going to be one that we focus more on, like, I don't know if you were diagnosed like anxiety and OCD specifically, whereas like, hey, I didn't know that what it was, but when I was a kid, I certainly had things like I constantly had to spell letters in my head. Like not letters, words. I was always like, going through certain words, and then there was a certain number that like if things were done a certain amount of times, then that would like release the compulsion. And Sam obviously knows, he's like seen certain things that I used to do. Oh, yeah. And so,
and on the clear, we used to make fun of them. We're assholes, and we should not have done that. Well, it was not fair. I look back on it now, I'm like, wow, man, I can't believe why would I do that to this kid?
I didn't think much about it, and I think it's interesting because you evolve, like your anxiety that you had about your parents. I understand that because I still have that about certain things. There are 2 very specific things that I still they're triggering for me. I would use the word, and those are drugs and jail, and
Mm.
anything that has to do with drugs and anything that has to do with jail is very triggering for me, and it really flares my OCD. And it, like, outside of that, I'm usually pretty good and maintained, but it's those two very triggering things that I'm like I really have to work through it. And I feel compulsions wanting to come to help me to kind of work through it, but I fight those. I kind of work with those, and I found other ways to not have to do like whatever weird thing you have to do to feel better about it, you know? So maybe talk through your journey about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, when I first, would have those thoughts about, I was very like influenced by movies and TV shows. Um, and so there were so many TV shows where the parents would die, and it was like houses were being robbed. And my parents always have like the news on and NPR on. I was like always hearing of like this person's dying,
Sure.
robberies. And so I just thought like it was so much. It really stuck with me. And so I remember The Witches, that movie, the parents die in a car crash. And my parents have an amazing marriage, and they were always like being social and going out. And I think some of it is like I'm just more a natural like homebody and they're not. But so I was always like, why are you going out? I didn't say that to them because I didn't want to be annoying, but so when they would go out, I would be like, they could die in a car crash. And I didn't know that just because I felt it, that we're always feeling our thinking,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's true or not. And um, so I would have that thought and I would have a bad feeling. And I felt like maybe this is a premonition, without kind of knowing, but like it just felt like this could be so possible. And so as a little girl, it just like the world felt kind of really big and scary. Like people were dying in car crashes, people were breaking in. Also, like I grew up in like the 80s, it was like you're gonna be kidnapped. And
Oh
there
yeah.
was
Yeah.
Punky Brewster was a TV show, and Punky got abandoned. And I just, until I was 11, I mean, I can remember still thinking that at 11, that my parents were going to abandon me. And they were just waiting for a good time. And I remember
Wow.
we moved literally to like a different town so I could go to this school. And my mom was a little bit late. And I remember being 11 and thinking, now is the time they are abandoning you. And I had this logical thought, well, why would they wait this long? And it was like, there just wasn't a good time. And I'm like, and so I would I was just always like then vigilant of like my parents are gonna die. We had an amazing housekeeper, but I was like, she's old, she's gonna die. And I was always like, it's everyone's gonna die.
I'm gonna be left
And
alone.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I would be like, and when we moved to this new school, my mom was late, and then I was like, forget it. I'm gonna walk home. I would always look like there's a veterinarian office here. When I'm
Wow.
abandoned, that's where I'll walk. I could probably go there and
Yeah.
tell them,
Mapped out.
like, I've been and then I decided to, like, walk home with this girl, Nancy, because I was like, "Well, if I walk home and then my parents never get me from Nancy's, I'll be at Nancy's, and they'll have to then get me
At least
help."
Nancy's got me. Okay. Wow.
And it sort of then, um
So at the
you
time, I'm sorry to cut you off there. At the time, was it all mental, or were you feeling anything into that you remember?
I had really bad headaches and stomach
Okay.
aches. I think I lived in a state of,
Anxiety. You're
Fight, flight,
constantly
or
anxious.
freeze,
yeah,
right?
Those
I
thoughts
was
made you
Wow.
anxious.
Yeah, and so because I remember I would take, like, Tylenol before I could, like, swallow a pill, like, my sister would try to put it in peanut butter, and I was like
Dang.
and I would then always, in high school, then too, would just, like, really bad stomach pain, really bad headaches, and then I would think, "I'm gonna die of stomach cancer," and so then it kind of I watched
Yeah.
this TV show ER and Mark Green, the
Oh
doctor
my.
that
Yeah. Yeah. It's a comedy.
I'd have this headache because of the chronic stress and anxiety, and I'm like, "This is a brain tumor, though." And I
Yep.
just and it was like in another movie, somebody had a brain aneurysm, and so I was just like I just
Heaven
felt like
forbid you
that's
watch Final Destination at the same time too.
yeah,
Did you watch that movie or no?
I did not see that,
That
but it was
movie
like,
that
Okay.
movie
Yeah.
did to me what you're explaining right now.
I'm
oh,
feeling in all this stuff. I'm like, man, yeah, that's a lot of years to deal with all that pain.
yeah, and I think the biggest thing is, like, I didn't know that you can have a thought and feel it, and it was just a thought. Like, it
Mhm.
really felt like
It was
my
real.
parents could die, the house was gonna get broken into, I was gonna be abandoned or kidnapped, like, that big van is gonna come kidnap you, and then it was
Sure.
like and I'm also probably gonna now, as I got older, it was like, die of a brain aneurysm, a brain tumor, and stomach cancer.
Whew.
And, um, and then I think there is such a I see being on the other side, a correlation. I developed an eating disorder, and then
Mm.
also started like drinking and things to I think that that OCD to, okay, let me
Sure.
focus on something.
No, it would mask it. It was something else, right? You would do
Yeah.
those other things to help you kind of find a cure, if you will, for the other anxieties.
Yeah. And I think also growing up in LA, Los Angeles, like how can I make sure I'm not like rejected and unlovable? And it was like, well, if I could just be thin, so
Sure.
thin or whatever would go on. And so just kind of morphing
Yeah,
into,
this beast within you is
LA is
it's
hard.
tangible right now. I can feel it through just the conversation that we're having. I can
Yeah.
picture what this little Lily is feeling and dealing with at that time growing up.
yeah.
There's a lot of people that are I'm sorry, it's just an emotional response right now, and that's a big weight that I just felt on my shoulders
Mm.
of the amount of fear that children out there have. Right, Jared, we had this with conversations with other guests that we've had, Rick Diamond,
Yeah.
where you don't know, you're just living in those moments as a kid. And a lot of us, until we have these kind of conversations, we don't really think back on how we were feeling. Some of us, maybe like such as yourself, you're like, I know I was dealing with this. I was feeling this at the time. I know there's plenty of people out there that I talk to at work, and they are the product of their feelings or emotions that they've had as a kid that they haven't been able to, I'm going to use the words, I want to say deal with, because it's not the right wording, because it's not dealing with your stuff. It's kind of accepting those emotions that are coming through and realizing this is who I am. There's nothing wrong with that. It's how do I make this my normal, right? That's the goal, or the trick, I guess, if you will, of this anxiety. We're not removing that, right? We're not removing this weight. It's still going to be there. Sorry, that's just a
Yeah. Oh, no.
authentic reaction that I had with the story that you were telling us.
Yeah. I think, and for me though, it was a lot of clearing up a misunderstanding, and so I didn't know that just because I had a thought, it wasn't true, or that I felt it strongly wasn't true. So there was, um, I didn't know I was feeling my imagination,
Sure.
and I didn't know that the worse I felt, probably the least true, it was not true, the thoughts that I had. And so I think coming into the understanding that I did changed my life. I didn't I that's why I started sharing some of this when I was a school psychologist. I'm like, everybody should know this. Like kids,
Hmm.
if they it's like we don't know. It's we think that we're so in our thinking and feeling
Mhm.
our thinking that it can seem real. And so I think that's why what I share, because I really do think it can dissolve anxiety, where sure, we're going to be a human who's going to have we're going to feel bored and anxious and sad, but we're not something that we're living in when you
Sure.
understand. Because I have I mean, I don't really experience much anxiety, but
Well, isn't that nice? Sorry. We deal with it on an everyday basis with our little children. All that overstimulation anxiety that we get with those crying kids and loud kids.
So, I mean, tell us about the evolution there, though. Yeah, like let's keep
yeah,
talking through that.
yeah. Well, I guess it sort of evolved in when I got married and had kids. It was like another misunderstanding that I had was that somebody needed to worry to keep everybody safe, and so my parents seemed too blasé to me. Even as a child, I was like, you guys, there's real danger out there, and
Right.
so I thought like, well, somebody needs to worry, and I guess it's going to be me. And then as I got married and had a child, it was like, and my ex-husband is a wonderful guy, but he also looked like carefree. And I was like, well, good for them. But
Mhm.
I guess I will be the worrier because somebody needs to worry to keep everybody safe. I guess it's me.
Yeah.
And you guys can have a great life, but like I will be the one
I'll
that
take it all
is,
on.
and because I thought that I needed to be 10 steps ahead in order to make sure we're cutting the grapes in quarters, and sometimes it would look like proof, like the preschool would send a note if my ex-husband ever made the lunch, and I'd be like, see me, like I know everything,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna save them all from choking and death and illness and like So I just got very obsessed though
Yeah.
with health and this potential, I mean, health and more, but like, so that was, I didn't know that being carefree doesn't mean you're careless, you know? And so that was another thing that I actually think, um, my severe anxiety that I then had, like panic attacks and anxiety, it looked like it was ruining my life, but it actually saved my life.
Mm.
It invited it I then became into the conversation, the understanding that changed my life and gave me freedom from anxiety and worry. And I feel like it gave me a second chance at life and a second chance at parenting, and doing it knowing that I can take really good care of myself and my family from a place of love and flow, and that like worry isn't needed, anxiety isn't needed, to take really good care and be very sincere. I think I was very serious, but
Mm.
even as, I mean, I also had a great childhood and was very happy and social and a great life, but there was this undercurrent of hypervigilance, of tension. But I thought the world's really scary. There's diseases and murderers and bad things, and you need to like stay on guard and like, and then, but staying on guard, I didn't enjoy my life. I was so in my head, and I had, um, I guess I just being on the other side when I also got, after the birth of my daughter, I became very obsessed with health because then I was thinking of like feeding her, and I'm like, she's this blank slate. And I came into the paleo kind of conversation, and it was like, if you avoid grains and whatever else, like both physical and mental illness, like a book on and a way.
Oh man,
Dude,
It's so
how
it's
much
true
does
right
this sound
now.
like me, Sam? Like it's just like one thing to the next.
Oh man, that
But health is
plus
good. At
my
least that's a
wife,
good thing,
my
right?
wife now, and any new parent out there, like think about all of those people out there. They're like, I got this brand new person. I know I gotta stop eating McDonald's, so I'm gonna make my healthy choices for my own kid, and like this just this constant worry and burnout because of that constant feeling, right? The constant feeling that you have to always be on guard with everything. Like you said, cutting up the grapes, and I just cut them up. It's like if they choke, I know how to do Heimlich, so I'm gonna slap the shit out of that back and get that thing out. Like that's for me. So it's not carefree, right? Or carefree, careless. Um, I come off very carefree when I feed my kids because I'm not worried about their reaction because I know how to handle that reaction.
Yeah. But I think, well, carefree can be great. I think you can
Yeah,
be carefree isn't careless, because that's, I think, the misunderstanding. You're like, no, I can be
sure.
carefree because I know I can handle it. Like, you don't need to be vigilant or worried. You do your best, and you also know, well,
So how does
uh,
one do that? Right, that's the golden ticket. How
Well, yeah,
does
let's keep talking about the evolution here, though. Like
All right, we'll
you're
put a pin
talking
in that.
about, yeah,
I
you're
got this
talking
written
about
down.
your different. You're married now, right? And your daughter's born.
I'm divorced
No, I'm
now.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going back in your life. You're
When I was
married.
Ti-
You're
married.
married
timeline,
now
yep.
in the timeline.
Okay.
Daughter's born, which is the first child, and you're
Yeah.
thinking about health now. So let's keep going down that. And yeah,
Yes.
Thanks,
Um,
Jared. Way to bring us back.
yes. Thinking about health, I was at a CrossFit, and I had recovered from an eating disorder, so I was trying to stay away from the nutrition stuff. But at this
okay.
CrossFit, which was so fun, there was a giant mural on the wall
Mhm.
that was all about nutrition. And CrossFit, at least the ones I went to, was so fun because it was community. There was so much community, and I love fitness, and I love community and connection. And
Mm.
and so, I had my coach, and they would do like the whole life challenge and these things. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. But like, I don't want to do the nutrition things because I knew I could get obsessive about it. And they're
Yeah.
like, you can come and you don't have to do the nutrition. You can just do the fitness stuff. And
Just come to the 3-hour workouts.
I know. And then though, I got hooked. And so it was like, I
Sure.
read this book, and I was like, oh my God, here is if I feed my daughter this way. And I'm somebody like, I'm not like a foodie. Like I can be rigid, like tell me how to eat. I do it. But
Mhm.
then to I just got so deep. I listened. This was like 2011 or 2010, right around there. And like if I could also, like, I'm somewhere neurodivergent, and so I can just hyper focus if it's an interest to me. And it was like paleo, eating, this hyper focus. I obsessively listened to podcasts. I read every book. Like all my waking hours were like, how can I paleo harder and be primal and like, and so I made everything from scratch. But I also then didn't want my daughter to get an eating disorder because I was like, well, if she's anorexic, she could die of anorexia. And I don't want her to be like weird socially. So
Right.
I'd like be at her preschool to try to make food. Everything from home was paleo, was made from scratch, was organic. Um, but I also wanted her to be social and not like, so then I'd go to these preschool events and I would literally be like having a heart attack because she'd be eating pizza. But like, I wanted her to be social, but I'd be like,
Dang, bro.
I bring her my paleo cupcake, but I'd be like, we
Yeah.
can't do that too often because then she's going to like be weird socially and die of anorexia. But now she's going to die because of this gluten cupcake. And so people like all these things that would be like normal. And I'd be like, gluten and sugar and the red 40 dye. And
Oh,
so
the red 40. Don't even get me started.
and then I also like, so I remember going, CrossFit had like Mark Sisson, who wrote like the Primal Blueprint, come to speak, and people asked him questions. I would answer. I'm like, I know what Mark's going to say because I've listened to every single podcast he's ever been on. And so I can end this story though. I got so obsessive that I lost my period for 3 years. So it wasn't that I was even overly working out. But my hormones were in the postmenopausal range because I had
Wow.
such stress, but I'm like, I'm going to paleo harder. Like when I first lost my
You said that
cycle,
it was the stress? Is that what I heard you say?
it was my obsession with health.
Wow.
It was because every single waking minute, I mean, I just listened to health content. And it would just like get deeper and deeper
That's
because then it was
crazy.
like, well, I can't,
This is
it was
so
cleaning
relatable
products,
to
it was beauty
many
products,
people.
it was cooking things, and it was just,
Yeah.
but then it would be like also about the environment. Like if my parents would use Ziplocs, I'd be like literally having a heart attack. So I'm like, and I would try to zero weight. And so I
The plastics, no.
I know. And then it was like, so it was
Girl,
just,
you don't even know. I was vegan for almost a decade, so everything you just said is me. Like I 100% get you.
yeah. So,
Wow. Yeah.
um, all these things that like losing my period and not being able to get pregnant for a while looked horrible, kind of like the panic and anxiety too, but like they all woke me up, And so I think our body is designed so beautifully, our body and our mind, that it stops working properly. But it's not punishment, it is a signal of being off. And so um ending that chapter eventually it did wake me up to kind of loosening my relationship to food, because once I had after 3 years of everything, and I tried to do it by like eating perfectly pure and all this stuff, and it just like getting worse and worse. And so then I had an MRI and they tested me and they're like, your hormones are postmenopausal, and I was like 30. But once this was when
Yeah.
the internet kind of helped. I put everything and it was like this thing about hypothalamic amenorrhea and some other women who weren't like underweight, but their obsession with health or fitness
Mhm.
caused this. And
Yeah.
so then I recovered, and I mean, I did get my fertility back, and that's why my kids have a 7-year age gap.
Okay.
But it was a slow
Yeah, what was the recovery? Let's talk about
dissolving.
that. Because again, I was vegan for almost a decade, and that transition is even different than. I mean, it's regardless. It's still a certain way of eating, but with that comes a mentality, the sustainability, and how dare you use Ziplocs? Like how
Yep.
dare you fill in the blank thing, right? And what did that look like? I mean, I could go on a diatribe about mine. I'm curious what happened with your transition.
Yeah. Well, once I started reading about it, it really did click, and I was very motivated to I really wanted to be able to get pregnant. And so loosening the reins on that, on eating more variety of food. And I also I had slowly like cut back my CrossFit workouts, but like I stopped exercising completely. And it took me, my sister was helpful. I have a wonderful family of like eating more variety. And then I just started actually having fun with it and like eating pizza and Dairy Queen. And that
Go,
was like,
girl.
I was
Heck
like,
yeah. DQ.
No,
yeah.
but with that, was
Um,
that like just whenever you wanted, or did you still limit yourself?
no, I mean, I was working on, um, took me a little bit to get comfortable with it. And then though, I was like all in. And within a few months though, I got my period back and I was pregnant. And so it was like very quickly, like, I
That's
mean,
awesome.
so it was a transition because I didn't of just like gaining weight. I wasn't even underweight. I was like kind of my weight now or maybe more, but like just a nature of eating more food, I did gain weight and that was hard, but I was a school psychologist and I was married. And so like I gained like 20 or 25 pounds, like nobody cared. And so it's kind
Right.
of interesting to be like, nobody cares. Like nobody is caring
Huh.
about, and also I know I still have like in privilege or whatever, but it was, I also could literally feel my body healing. So I was on these forums because so I wasn't
That's
moving.
really
They were like,
huge.
do no exercise. And it just clicked with me. I'm sure there's a lot of ways to heal from, hypothalamic
Sure.
amenorrhea and orthorexia. Um, but I was on this forum. And so it was a point where my stomach felt like someone beat me with a baseball bat. And I went into the
Oh,
forum and they were like, yeah, that's your organs. So they like the rationale behind it was why you stop working out completely. Cause there's little muscle tears if you're working out. And if you're
yep.
doing that, your body's going to go to heal that rather than heal
Your organs. Yeah.
your
The main
organs,
important
and I
stuff. Yeah.
felt it. So I think it's like I got the reinforcement of getting my period back, like literally my body healing very quickly, and so that really
Wow.
reinforced it. Um, After I did get pregnant and then have my son, I fell back a bit into
Hmm.
wanting to control and feed him perfectly, and it was I think especially like, um, kind of talking about like the triggers, I think like my kids' health and especially when they were younger, um, was definitely very like triggering and can very much grip me in terms of like their health. And this is so important and it being so
Oh, yeah.
serious. So it was definitely like, um, it
Did your
wasn't an,
kids actually eat all the stuff that you prepped for them?
oh yeah. I mean,
They were good with it, huh?
they were good. They made it with me. I mean, that was the
That's
fun
awesome.
thing. Like
Yeah.
um, I would get them like paleo cookbooks and like, no, they made everything. And I mean, I made good food and there's so much you can eat.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah, we found
my
that we'll spend all this time in trying to prep all this food for especially our one daughter. She houses everything. Doesn't matter what it is. Our other daughter, no. She'll be like me and she doesn't eat all day. Like, all right, it's 10:30 at night. Like, what the heck? You sure you don't? No, I'm good. Like, what? You're two. What do you mean you're good? How are you not hungry?
isn't
And
it?
it is so aggravating. So for me, it's definitely like I don't care what she eats. It's just got to be something that goes into her body, at least something, or the doctor will say something to us.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so much more relaxed
Hmm.
now,
So what's
and
yeah,
have been definitely for the past 7 years.
7 year. Okay. So have your son and with the diet, like you're going back into the paleo into the exercising, of course. But were you still hitting the pizzas like Friday night, DQ every once in a while kind of situation, or were you pretty strict?
After my son had a lot of digestive issues. And I probably would handle it differently now, but I really like then it seemed like I had a reason
Hmm.
to also eliminate things from my diet.
It makes it
And
easier when your kids have a certain restrictions or things like that.
yeah,
Might as well just
and,
eat like them. Yeah.
and I was still nursing. And so afterwards, then there was a time where I would like literally just eat chicken and sweet potatoes, but I'd also be like, I love this. Like, I mean, I think, but I'm like, give me a reason to be so obsessive and strict. Like, I think part of me is also like, ew, like, I don't want to eat like pizza and Dairy Queen. Like, I want to be, like, it's just not fun for me. Even now, like, I'm very recovered. I'm very healthy, or I'm very mentally healthy. But like, it's actually, it's so much more fun for me to cook healthy. Like, I don't know. It's like, I'm
Sure.
not going to bake like anything or, like, I'm like, let's be healthy. Like, I don't know. So, but
You just
it's
want to
from
eat
a
what's
healthy
good.
place.
Are you craving? I
Yeah.
know
And
what you mean
Yeah.
though. Like whatever. I'm just using Dairy Queen as an example, like fill in the blank thing. But the non-healthy, like we can all agree, Dairy Queen is just it's not the healthiest thing, but it's fine every once in a while, right? Like we all tap into whatever Chick-fil-A, whatever not all of
Bro,
us,
when was
but
the last time you hit up Dairy Queen?
listen, man, I had Chick-fil-A a few weeks ago. You know,
Stop it.
you know? So it's like,
Get out. Good for you, man.
no, but again, I'm just
Loving it.
curious. The thing is I'm curious if you found like what kind of rhythm you found with your food. Like in the home, it sounds like you're eating pretty clean regardless because you just crave that anyway. You're not craving
Yeah.
just a bunch of junk anyway, right?
I'm not. And that's, I think what I found with me and with parenting too is like just being fine being like medium, like,
Yep.
where it's not this black and white. Like I just feel like health, what I see now is like health for me and my kids is so much more than just the food they're eating. Like I think I just was in such a different place. It felt so much more serious. So for me, I'm like just a kind of a bland homebody that like if it's me, like I can just like eat my same meals all the time at home, but I also want to be social. And so I'm like, oh, I go out if I have a glass of wine. My son's in middle school. Our boys we all have
Mhm.
11-year-olds. Sometimes my Friday night is a horror movie and Chick-fil-A,
Yeah. Yeah,
Sure.
and I'm
100%.
totally
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and so there's just a lot more ease where I'm not even calculating. Um,
You're not
there's just
thinking. I
so
know what you
much
mean.
more
It's
ease.
like I'm feeling Chick-fil-A right now, you know? And it's just like, and if that
Yeah.
pops up,
It's a wonderful life to have that mentality.
you know,
Yeah.
it is.
It's
It's a
freeing.
good
Right?
rhythm.
It's freeing.
Now, if I would think, and this is an interesting conversation, if that's happening every day where you're craving that, it's almost like then you need to check yourself. I would say like if I'm craving McDonald's every day, I'm okay recognizing that's not okay and that's not healthy. Now let me figure out what I should be doing so that I can maybe I just kind of do a hard fast from that. So then I get to the point like you where it's like, hey, like literally Chick-fil-A, it was 2 weeks ago where I was like, yeah, I could go for that. I didn't have it for like a month plus before, and I haven't had it since. And
Dang.
it's not like I need to take Chick-fil-A. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, I could go for that right now. It's like,
Yeah.
Side note
Yeah.
on that: if next time you guys go to Chick-fil-A, I love food, by the way.
oh
Lily,
yeah,
and
I
I've
feel like Lily
never
does
had
too.
any complex or any kind of this anxiety or just hyper or anything about food. I've always been like, yeah, sweet. If I want to go to McDonald's 5 days a week, hell yeah, I'm gonna go to McDonald's 5 days a week. And guess what? I'm still gonna be living. I'm good. However, when you go back to Chick-fil-A,
Tell us what
my
to
wife
get.
and I, we'll get. We usually do what we call Chick-fil-A nachos. We found it on TikTok somewhere where you literally just lay the base of the French fries. You go ahead and order a few patties by itself. You cut it up, sprinkle that onto your fries, and then you end up getting some mac and cheese. You throw that shit on top of it as
Huh.
well. You get your favorite sauces, you sprinkle that over. I mean, you can throw even more stuff on top if you want, but essentially it's like one big old nacho, but with fries, chicken, perfect bite. Get whole family dive into the tray. You just fork it up.
There you go.
Forks over knives.
Yeah. Hey,
That
listen,
sounds good.
sounds good over a horror movie. You get your roommates
Shoot.
and your son. You guys,
Nothing like a pile of Chick-fil-A nachos.
little Stranger
Table.
Things and Chick-fil-A nachos.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so
man.
so you found just a better, sounds like just a better rhythm, and your exercise as well,
Yep.
similar. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I've kind of been at peace with exercise for like, I didn't really get too gripped on that definitely for 20 years. I just love movement. I mean, I
Mhm.
really, um, um, I think it definitely like over exercised and used it to like work off food when I was a teenager. But I just genuinely actually have a love of moving my body. And so that like I did some more like intentional eating disorder recovery in my like 18, like 19, and then I definitely had all my setbacks with food, but the exercise kind of like um it was really easy for me not to get caught up, even though I would notice like during the pandemic, I could walk so much and I would like look at my steps and I'd get like 20 and 30K steps. And I'd be like, I'd have a streak and I'd be like,
Hmm.
I'm breaking a streak intentionally. Like, so it's been very easy for me to like, my brain can try to hook me in with like numbers. It's like,
Oh,
what's your
wow.
steps? And I'm like, no, no, like, let me intentionally hop
It's
off
like
the
she's batting,
treadmill, like
batting all kinds of stuff.
7,000, so I
Huh.
just love moving my body. I
Okay.
really like it makes me genuinely happy. And so I've had a pretty much, um, happy, balanced relationship to exercise. Yeah. Um,
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And
I
are
love
you
it.
still in the LA area?
Yeah, I'm in LA. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious how that
Nice.
whole. I mean, when you were a kid, LA is hard, right? It's all about body and how you look and
Oh, yeah.
appearances.
Yep.
Have you just been able to
Yeah.
block that, and it's just as you've matured throughout all this?
No problem. No, not at all. I mean,
Okay.
but um, I, you know, I definitely still like want to be thin. It's a priority for me, but like I made peace with like whatever my body was going to be and like gained weight and had other things. And I don't know, I'm kind of in a place where obviously like, I don't really fight my body. I'm just effortlessly like the weight that I'm at kind
I
of.
got you.
And I
Yeah.
could just do little things, but I mean, just being totally honest, like, I mean, I think
Still an external source of yours that you have to um, deal with, right? On a daily basis, right?
yeah, I mean, and it's like, oh my God, it used to just consume me and I like hated myself. Somebody had so much stuff. And now I'm like, well, so I don't know. It's like settled into my body in my 40s, like so like post kids and everything. But I think I definitely just being honest that I think I still place value in how I look.
Yeah. No. No. I
Um,
get it.
but
Yeah.
but not in
Is it?
a like it's not.
It's not obsessive, maybe.
No, no, it's
Yeah.
like, also weirdly seeing myself on social media, like I
Uh-huh.
used to hate how I looked and hated photos of myself and like hated my upper lip being so small and hated how I smiled. And then like, oh my God, I hated being photographed.
Uh huh.
And then I took a photo, or my ex-boyfriend did, for like social media. And then also seeing myself in video was like, because I think before I'd like see me and I'd be like, ew, you're like ugly and not a model, and like, and then so every time I'd like see myself, I'd be like, oh, and then I see myself all the time. And so I think I just got used to like me. And
Normalized it. Yeah. You're like, yeah, this is what am I worried about?
yeah, and so or like, I don't know, I'm not like shocked, like, "Ew, like you're not," like, and so I just see me all the time, and I'm like, I love me. I'm not like, oh, I'm gorgeous and thin, but like it really like helped neutralize me, and also like I have a busy life, and so many. If I waited to like look good in every video, I'd never one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I get
I'd
you.
You just don't.
evidence my like well, I think I just like see me, and I like love me, because I don't know why, but so the really honestly, like seeing myself, just I like am so much more at peace with how I look. I guess I see like myself flowing in videos too. I don't know. It was like I guess like exposure to what I look like that I'm like whatever, not
Yeah.
so bad.
I have a similar as well where I hated the way I sounded. Funny enough, we got a podcast show and it got me over the hump of hearing my own voice. Now, growing up, I had some speech issues. Couldn't say my R's, couldn't say my S's. Man, it was a bad thing, and you just get made fun of it, from it. I make joke of everything. That's generally my coping mechanism. I get weird around death. I get weird around everything, and generally my personality is I'm gonna make it a good time for somebody, and I'm gonna make somebody laugh, and generally at myself. and for me, just getting over the hump of seeing and constantly editing the shows, I'm like, you know what? The hell with it. My voice is whatever my voice is.
I think you
Can't
look
change
great.
it. Can't do anything. And at some point, and to some extent, you can't change your physical appearance. You are what you are. Now, granted, throwing those external factors in it, if bringing on the, not shitting on the fast food industry, but throwing that into your body every day is not going to get you to the physical desire that you may want for, or a individual, not you, Lily, but an individual wants for their body or their look. However, at some point, you just got to be content with ourselves and just,
Mhm.
man, people love authenticity. They love who you are, who I am, my voice. It don't matter. It's just the content of what's coming out of you is what people care about.
Yeah.
Well, going back on the shift from your school psychologist. I mean,
Yeah.
dealing with kids, what age were you a school psychologist for?
You know what? I actually worked in my career. I started out in preschool.
Wow.
And that was my year. Yeah, doing preschool assessment, which is amazing because you do
Yeah,
it
it
with a
is.
team. So when you do it, you often the assessments are with the occupational therapist and the speech pathologist, and like you get in and you do a team. It was, and I love like team. I
Mhm.
love connections and relationships, and then I worked in all settings from kindergarten to 12th grade, and midway in my career, I became the lead school psychologist. So then I was the lead school psychologist in my whole district. But I think I spent the longest time
Wow.
in the high school setting. But I've worked with kids, yeah, from very early on, um, and into high school. But I love like middle school and high school. I mean, I loved all ages. There's so
I hear
much.
that a lot.
The
Middle school is
differences.
a really cool sweet
Yeah,
spot. Innocence
yeah,
is still there, but they're still old enough to get into trouble.
yeah, yeah. And in high school, they're, really like adults, and there's a lot to, I would have people that would talk to me about sex, a
Mhm.
lot of like, and death. And, there was a lot of death that would come up. I had in my intern year, students who lost their parents, in a lot of settings. And so, I loved being a school psychologist. When you're a psychologist, every district is different, but counseling, crisis, and then also assessments. So you have to do psychological assessments and make diagnoses and things, which can be satisfying and sometimes extremely helpful. Sometimes having a diagnosis, but I just also got like disillusioned with diagnosing and goals and um, but I loved like I am very, very skilled like therapist and counselor. And so that was always like my passion of just like connecting in groups and individuals. And that's why I think it was such a natural progression when I transitioned to being a coach because I'd been, working in the mental health field with individuals and groups for a decade before that,
Hmm.
and just like I love one-on-one, but I also love the group. I'd always been doing groups and I loved working with kids, but I really felt called to because I had my own severe anxiety and panic. And once I found something that changed my life, there was an evidence-based curriculum that I brought that I did in schools. But I kept having this nudge, like, I need all the anxious adults to know this too. Like
Yeah,
I
these are
need the
good tools that I just learned. Yeah.
Seriously.
um, yeah.
Now, was it with your own childhood growing up and these kids? I'm gonna go back on that. It may be a loaded question. So, um, did you pull from any of your childhood your own emotions during those moments?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think in a way I would appropriately disclose, and
Right.
so I think one of the big things when I would see my students, and if they would say something, sometimes I'd be like, "Oh, me too," and they'd be like, "What?" And because I think so much time we think like I'm the only one that has this weird
Sure.
thought or this weird thing, and so when it was appropriate, um, and it was people like, the hugest thing was that I'd always get was like, "I like you so much more than my other therapist." Also, I like dressed casual, it was a casual district, but, like, I'd be
Right.
there and it was like, "Oh my god, I can just talk to you." And so I think I felt like such a weird kid or like, such a I had all this anxiety, that a lot of times people would talk about anxiety and intrusive thoughts and these things and like normalizing it and being able to like listen and really like get it like I didn't feel so far away from being that worried kid or that insecure teenager or everything. And so I think it was just natural to kind of have like authentic connections.
It's like a full circle, it seems, right? Like the little you is now handling and helping these other kids that are going through their struggles. That was a cool full circle picture that you led for yourself. With what was the change then when you said, all right, I've done this with the school psychology. I'm gonna go break off and do peace from within. It wasn't like a black and white. There had to been some sort of transition, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. I mean, I always thought, I mean, one of the downsides in working in a school is it's not a great pay.
Sure.
But as a psychologist, that's what I always knew I wanted summers off. I wanted I wanted a job where I could like end around kids' time, and I loved the district I was in too, but it was always a struggle month to month living in Los Angeles, honestly. And so I
I
was
bet.
often thinking of doing something different. But I thought it needed to be in person, because obviously all the work I did was in person. And
Right.
so a lot of my coworkers, whether it was a clinical psychologist or the social worker, we were always talking of like, okay, are we going to do an offshoot? What are we going to do to supplement our income?
It seems like a
And
normal thing teachers do. They always got their side hustles.
yeah, I
Right.
mean, it's unfortunate. I wish everybody
Yeah.
in this district, I
Shoot.
mean, I wish everybody made an abundant,
Wish we were
Wow.
all wealthy.
yeah. And so then,
Why
no,
even
it was
have money at all?
buy good clothes, eat Chick-fil-A.
Talk about a podcast show on that one.
I know.
Capitalism or socialism? What do we do?
And so, yeah, I was also like getting a divorce, and I had moved back home to live with my parents. And there was this woman's program. It was like, and so I always knew like, I want to share this with adults. And it was this woman, Danielle Leslie, had a thing called Course from Scratch. And it was like $1,700. And it said like, you have what you want to do. And she helps you make this course and do like an online group. And I put it on PayPal credit because I didn't have that just laying around.
Sure.
And I thought, well, I've got 6 months. I'm going to give it my all because it was the pandemic. It was like, I wasn't like I had nothing to do. Couldn't even
Right.
take my kids anywhere. So I thought, I'm going to follow exactly what she says. And at the very least, I hope I can make $1,700 and pay this PayPal credit off in 6 months. And
Yeah.
at the most, maybe it's going to change my life. And so I followed all of her steps exactly. And then one of the steps was like, now there was 2 steps that I was like, one was like text everybody in your phone and be like, I'm starting a new business. Can I put you on my email list? And I was
That's hard.
no,
You're like, no.
Yeah.
nobody
That
to
is
know this. Like, let me fail in silence. I was
No,
like,
everyone's gonna
I'm
ask
doing
me.
I just felt like it was so embarrassing to be like, I'm starting a new career. But I did it. I mean, I don't think I texted everybody, but I probably texted like 75% of all the contacts. Like, I'm
Huge.
starting a new business. And then the second one was like, now post on social media. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's the ooh.
But,
Yeah.
And your social at the
I
time
was
was like maybe some like 1,000 followers or something, just some friends of yours.
0.
Oh,
I
you didn't even
started
have a
my
social.
account.
Wow. Okay.
No, I mean, I was like, I'm starting
Put a
this new
plug in how many you have right now, though.
Oh, on Instagram,
It's like 180 something thousand.
You went 0 to
It's like 4 or 5 years.
187K
Yeah.
and 420 on TikTok.
girl.
But I took one photo, like literal not smiling because I was like, you're ugly to smile. So I took it, I was like so cringe, could not smile. I posted it, but then what changed was my daughter was like, Instagram, in 2020 was so much like photos.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think there was
No,
reels.
video wasn't a thing.
So that's what I first did. And my daughter was like, what about TikTok? And I was like, what is this TikTok? And then I went on and I literally was just dying laughing.
Huh.
And then up came an idea. And I was like, I'm going to make a video.
Huh.
And I like filmed this video and it started going by, like, I mean, within a few days of me being on TikTok.
What was it?
Oh my God. It was about like health anxiety. It was like to the song, like, if the world was ending, would you come over? Like, no. And I did it on like, am I dying of cancer? No. Or something like,
Oh, wow.
it was just a trending audio.
Yeah.
But normally my videos would get like 20 likes. And so I remember, because actually I was in the midst of my divorce and like living with my parents, but they'd ran out their home. So we had to like move to a hotel, my kids and I. And like my kids at online school, my daughter's like guitar lessons, like the guitars in the car. And I remember looking and when it went to 300, I'm like, something's happening. And I'm really proud.
Something's peaking.
When it was like almost at 100,000, I was like, it's 1 million. My daughter was like, it's not 1 million. And I was like, I'm getting 1 million views. And then I'll wrap up this story, but like my first group when I was launching, I worked so hard and I got like 5 people to join. One was from Instagram. Other people was from real life. But then that TikTok video blew up. my followers. And so then my second group, I had like 18. And then the next group, I had like 20. And then so it just.
And you charged per
I
person,
was
right?
like,
That's kind of how you did it.
yeah. And I didn't even have a website.
Thank you so much for joining us in this episode of Oak Road Diaries. We really appreciate you, and we really, really do hope that it added even the tiniest bit of value to your life.
If you felt that the conversation resonated with you, we invite you to share it because you really never know who needs to hear this today.
You can find more tools for intentional living and the 7 pillars of transformation at thehappyatrium.com or connect with us on our socials at thehappyatrium. We'd love to see and interact with you there.
Until next time, keep tending to your inner child, one breath, one step, and one story at a time.
Take care, and we'll see you down the road.